The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Oh, hang on. I just heard the sound of Steve's retainers coming out, I think.
Oh my God.
Going in.
Gross,
Steve?
No.
Was that your retainers?
It was indeed.
I put my retainers in, and I've got my shawl on my legs. Right, I'm ready to go. Welcome to the Weekend Podcast. Paddy, Pete and Steve join us. You all right, lads?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Yeah, good, thanks.
It's good now, isn't it? The balance of news is tipping towards Brexit rather than COVID. How exciting! So we got in this week's podcast, we're going to talk about Brexit, Gigafactory, the Aussie COVID vaccine. We've got a Twitter poll. We've got a listener question which has come in. I'll ask that at the start, all right, and then you can think about an answer towards the end. And this is what it's the person who listens to the podcast all the time. And he said, "What does the panel?" I said, "Hang on, the panel? Have you listened to the show?" I said, "It's more like a shambles." I said, "I know." He said, "That's why it's funny." What does the panel see as the main priority for the UK government policy in supporting business growth and innovation and protecting UK companies post-January? Okay, so it's post-Brexit. So have a think about it, Steve. Okay, on answer. Basically, how do you make the business economy thrive in the UK after Brexit, after we leave? All right. Yeah.
Right, are we answering it now? No,
we'll do it later. Steve's got to go form. Steve will do it off the cuff, but I mean, the rest of you need a bit of time to think about it. How would you stimulate business?
I've got a dossier ready to go.
You keep that dossier, Steve. Are you in your bed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put the dossier away, please. Okay. Keep it clean.
Yep.
All right. Did you see that Aussie COVID vaccine? Paddy said it, the Tin Hat Brigade be going wild over that. Essentially, they jump.
Real, was
they jump on it. Yeah. So it's promising Australian candidate for coronavirus vaccine has been abandoned after trial participants returned false HIV positive results. So it came out as having HIV. You imagine that, Mrs. Bruce? We got good news and bad news. We got rid of the COVID for you. All right, but you're now HIV. Imagine that. You wouldn't want that. What? I'm HIV. Yes. Sorry about that. We don't know what's going wrong there. Blame Bill Gates. But that would be a nightmare, even for a second, if they told you you're HIV. Hang on, I've gone from having a cold to having HIV. What the heck is going on? So now the Australian government have banned, they've cancelled the orders for that company. Yeah. And they're just transferring them over to AstraZeneca.
But true to form, I said my friend who's into conspiracy theories would be all over that. So about half an hour after I sent that, he sent me a link to a video of one of these conspiracy theory nutcases who had done a story about this, had removed all context and had basically said that vaccines cause HIV. Even though it's obvious that's not actually the story, that's the story that's being passed around all those. Well,
and they love that. That's one Steve posted. It was hilarious. That old lady, what was her name? The first one to get vaccinated in the UK. She's 90 odd, and she came out in a charity Christmas jumper. But there's a picture of her, wasn't there, with her hands together, pointing downwards. At one point, with their thumbs together, hands together, and the eye of the snowman. And some guy said, "Look, it's the Illuminati. She's doing the sign of the Illuminati."
The Illuminati have gone downhill.
Yeah, the old lady sitting in a wheelchair, basically. But there we are. Do you know what's annoying, though, right, this week, before we get into stocks? Boris, right, another reason, I voted for Brexit, I voted for Boris, but another reason now I'm not going to vote for Boris next time around, right, is that when he came out and said, listen, it looks like we're going to have more of a Canadian deal than, more of an Australian deal than a Canadian deal. And what does he mean by that? And everyone thinks, that's okay then, that's not too bad, because Australia's doing quite well, I think, aren't they? And you realise, hang on, what does he mean? He basically means a no deal. To say we got an Australian deal is disingenuous, I think, isn't it? It suggests they got some sort of special deal. And it's not, they got a no deal. And the fact is, they deal with it. Yeah, but you know what? We're not Australia. We're Australia. I don't know if you know that. Look at the map. Australia's in a different part of the world, right? So he came out and said when he first said he won basically on saying we'll get Brexit done. We've got an oven-ready deal. It turns out they haven't got the deal, the oven-ready deal, or the bloody oven, have they? The oven's probably an import with tariffs on it. What's annoying is, right, with Boris, is that he just lies. He subtly lies, but he's got quite a nice way about him. He's quite likeable, but he's a liar. And they are the best salesmen.
I think the fact is he did have a deal, but it was just a very unrealistic deal. That's the
I know. Get it done. He said, it's not getting it done though. It's not. So now we go to. Do you know what? It's nuts. Because in fact, I've got a little quiz here, right, boys? Listen, because our biggest trading partner is the EU. Australia's not. I'm going to give you, right, have guesses, go around, right, and top 5 trading partners of Australia and of the UK, right? You get a point for guessing one, and you have to say which one. So name a country, okay, and name who the biggest trading partner. Top 5. So Steve, start with the country. I want not blocks or continents. I want countries. Name a country you think is one of the top 5 biggest trading partners with either the UK or the Australia.
Germany.
Germany, and which country do you think that's the biggest trading partner with?
I can say UK. Go on.
UK, go on. Well, you're right there. It's top 5. It's number 2. It's our second biggest trading partner. That's $46.6 billion worth of trade, 9.9% of the trade. Okay, point for Steve there. Right, Pete. Name a country. Name a country.
The USA.
USA. What are you going with? Which country?
The UK.
The UK, it is. It's our I didn't know this, number 1 trading partner, the UK, $72.6 billion, 15.5% of total UK exports. So it's the biggest single trading partner. And you just go, okay, Pad, your turn.
Sorry, what are we doing here?
We're doing a trade. I want to show how different, basically, in a roundabout way, via a quiz, how different the trading partners that us and Australia have, and saying that a trading deal for Australia is good for us. It's not. It depends who you trade with, doesn't it? So,
is this import or export? Or is
these are trading partners, basically, both. So the weight of the value of total imports and exports thing. So, so name a country, Pad, and name either UK or Australia. I want one of the top 5.
So I reckon one of Australia's ones is probably New Zealand.
Oh, that's number 7, Pad. 7.1 billion. But what's interesting, right, is that, there's 2 different number 1s here, all right? So, Pad, you can get a point there. Back to Steve. Go on, Steve. Top 5, UK or Australia. What do you think Australia's number 1 is, Steve?
I reckon...
have a guess.
Italy.
No, have a guess. Italy? Italy's a different part of the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a guess, Stevie.
China.
Oh, China. Because, yeah, good point.
Well done, Steve. China, yes. China. Well, look, China's right next to it, pretty much.
Australia's making geography, Justin.
Yeah, Australia is in the middle of nowhere, but one of the biggest world superpower is, as close as it can be, is China. China's Australia's biggest trading by 89.2 billion, a third of its trade goes to China. Whereas the UK, it's the US. And they've got no one, but in fact, us. In top 5, the only European country they've got is us, number 4. So their biggest trading partners are China, Japan, South Korea, United Kingdom, United States, India, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong. So you see, ours are United States, Germany, France, Netherlands, China, Ireland, Belgium, Switzerland, Spain, Italy. So can you see the difference there, the makeup? So when Boris says, they've got a deal of this, fine, it's not Boris, because we're sitting right next to us. If you look at this, 43% of our exports go to the EU, 51% come from them to us. Australia's only 11% and 15%. So either way, there and there. So it's ridiculous to say that. And that's why I'm annoyed by bloody Boris just suggesting, we've got more of an Australian deal. We're not anywhere near Australia. That'd be good if we were in Australia.
Australia haven't got a deal.
That's disingenuous, isn't it? Saying that. Why did you say that? It's little lies. It just plays into the thing that he's a big liar. He were intelligent. He didn't even know how many kids he's got, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, it's not a good start.
They're also they're getting angry that the EU aren't giving us some of the same things that they gave to Canada. But again, they're forgetting that Canada is several thousand miles away.
Yeah.
And doesn't have very much trade with the EU.
Yeah. And they're not going to argue over fishing rights, are they, really?
It's about competition, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And but do average EU tariff rates? I try to do a tariff quiz, right? But it's so complex. If you go to the website and search for a good, you'll type in cars, and there's about 17 different versions of cars to find out what tariff it is. So is it a passengers more than 10? Is it electric car? Is it ICE car? Is it ICE and electric? And there's so many different subsectors of that. You can't do it. So it's very complex. Find out what tariff is. But the average apparently is 2.8. Some sectors will be higher. What was it? 10% for agriculture. Some of 35% dairy products. I had a Welsh farmer right on the news, and he was saying trouble is right. This is going to hammer my business now. Because there are people in the EU prepared to pay a premium for my lambs. I thought, that's not a problem then, is it? They pay a premium anyway. They had a couple of % tariff. He said, the thing is, I care for my lambs. I thought, how do you care for your... I never understand when farmers say they care for their animals when they slaughter them. How can you do that? If I care for an animal or anything, I don't end up killing it and eating it. A care home worker does not eat the people it came for. So don't give me the caring nonsense. You just...
That's because of coronavirus.
It's not... Listen, don't give me the caring nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. Absolute.
No.
Yes.
Well, of course they care for them because they get a much better price for the quality, don't they? So
I'm gonna
ultimately, and then you humanely kill them.
I'm humanely kill them. Listen, we are conditioned into thinking that animals are all different. Lambs, you can eat those little baby lambs. I'll slit this out, but I care for them.
Sidetracked here.
Yeah, we have. Anyway, but no, I never understand that. I never understand that care for them.
We don't understand you. I don't
A
understand.
care worker does not kill the people they care for, the animals they care
You're
for.
just using the word care.
Yeah, well, it's a different kind of care, see? But anyway, I genuinely think it'll get sorted out on Sunday, the Brexit deal. I think it'll get sorted out. It'll have to be, because Germany, right, strongest economy in the EU. Their biggest industry is cars. They're best in the world at cars. Mercs, Audis, VWs, BMs. They're not going to want a 10% tariff on those. They're really not, and Merkel will jump to do something on the deal.
That's been the argument for the last 4 years, and so far there's been no sign that the German car industry is coming to save us.
I know, but this is the deadline.
They seem very happy to just they had lots and lots of trade with Russia, and they tore that all up when they put the sanctions in.
But Russians don't buy. All Russians buy second-hand. Yeah, but Russians buy second-hand Mercs stuff. They don't buy new ones. You see a lot of Russians driving around old Mercedes.
Won't the tariffs be put on the customer, though? It won't go on the businesses, surely?
Yeah, but they'll buy less, won't they? It'll be less attractive to buy them.
Yeah. Yeah,
because tariffs.
So you won't be buying your Mercs now, Steve, because they're up 10% in price. And if you're buying 40,
but that's the question. Will they see an impact? Or people, Brits will just suck it up and go, yeah, I'll have to pay more for it.
Yeah. So exactly, if you're buying a 40 grand car, well, extra 4 grand matter, or 60 grand car, 6 grand. So you spend that kind of money on a car, does an extra 6 grand matter? Oh, and if it's a lease model, if you're loaning it anyway, does it matter that much? But it's inflation, isn't it? If inflation will go up, then that's not a bad thing. Yeah. A little bit of inflation is not too bad, see? It's good. It keeps people buying stuff, keeps the economy bubbling along. Anyway, there we are. Anyway. It'll be done. Listen, a deal will be sorted because there's pain either side. Like I said, it's £374 billion worth of imports from the EU. That's a lot. And you don't want that hurt. So it'll be sorted out, The media
we're going to hurt worse if...
We're going to hurt worse.
We hurt worse.
Yeah, but
it's in their interest to keep their little club happy and to make sure that it all stays together. Like, they're not going to ruin that just for the sake of us.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be no pain, no gain.
Yeah, but if you go to a supermarket in Europe, how expensive the food is, and I think the UK supermarkets are so cheap compared to the rest of Europe. Yeah.
So but if you go over to Europe shop, Steve, that's going to cost you a lot of money anyway, isn't it? Even the commute.
Yeah, do that.
But it just generally is, though, isn't it? You go to. I've only been to Spain, France, but I don't know. I find the food is just.
But it'd be all in tourist areas, and they're fleecing you.
Yeah. The UK is pretty famous for being quite expensive for some of that stuff.
Yeah. I think our supermarkets, we're generally better than them, I think, generally.
Yeah.
Our supermarkets.
I've not really done a price comparison there, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about stocks. Stocks. Anything you want to talk about specifically this week, Kenny? Stocks?
No.
By the way, I am... I got a filter, right? I look at a filter and I look at stocks.
Oh, I thought we were going to play a game to complete that sentence.
Oh, right. I thought it was at the end. We want to do it now or not? Okay, then. Let's do it now, then. Let's finish that off and go to stocks. Okay, then. This is the panel. Steve's got his answer ready. What does the panel see as the main priority for the UK government policy in supporting business growth and innovation and protecting UK companies post-January?
Oh, hang on a minute. I haven't had proper time to think.
We're doing that now. Okay.
You don't get that in question time. You don't get that in question time, do you? Oh, hang on a minute. I haven't had time to think about this. Can you come back to me at the end? Lovely. Yeah. Anyone else? Go on then, Pat.
We've got to sort out our productivity.
Yeah.
It's been a problem for a long time. And if this whole mess is anything, it's an opportunity to try and sort that out. So we've got to invest in education. We've got to get kids the sort of qualifications that they need in some of the stuff which hasn't been fashionable for a long time, like engineering, in order to give ourselves a competitive advantage.
Yeah. So basically, do you see that news? It's not news. I mean, do you see the Gigafactory announcement? That's quite good. There's 2.6 billion battery. See, that's the start of a trend here. But I think to get our production up, surely we just automate more. There's always going to be humans needed to check in what the robots are doing. But automating, that's what you do, isn't it? So you don't have any tardy, late for work people turning up. You got the robots just going on there. They're tired. They don't need breaks. all that stuff. So
but this is the pinch point, though, isn't it? Like at the moment, we've got lots of people who maybe aren't trained in new technologies, who don't have the ability to get those jobs. And then we're removing a whole swathes of employment because we're going to be automating all kinds of things, like even from like coffee shops and whatever. There'll be machines making coffee rather than you go into
they do anyway.
Yeah, but you go into a Pret and there's far less people there now than there used to be because the machine just does it all for them.
And a COVID. But have you seen? I mean, we've always worried about machines, right? It does, and years and years ago they weren't. They were hand making cars basically, and now machines make them. But there's still the same amount of people employed. There's always this light, pushback on automation, and you shouldn't be, because you'll always need. Even if you get, say, for example, have you seen that machine a while back? It can lay bricks. It's like a big machine, but you need someone to put the bricks in the hoddle and to monitor it. So that would be the brick guy doing that. But that thing could lay a lot faster, and it wouldn't get tired. It wouldn't need bricks. So that kind of thing happens, So I wouldn't be worried about that. That's a good thing, Here's a controversial thing: if we really want to be competitive and be productive, just slash all tariffs for everyone. Okay,
that's unrealistic, though, isn't it?
If you look at this, there's a guy, a professor from Cardiff University, I think it was, and he said it's the best way to become very productive and very competitive.
Yeah, but in the 20, 30 years in between that and catching up,
because you
absolutely ruined our farming industry. Every job in steel's disappeared. Like, become a dumping ground for.
I know we have to play to our strengths, don't we? Listen, let's go run this route. Let's just say we slash all tariffs, right? You get cheap imports coming in. Now, you either compete with those, or because tariffs are there to protect your homegrown domestic, so you either compete with those in some way in better quality, or you don't. And you compete on what you can compete on, and put your resource and efforts into stuff we're good at. Like we are. I mean, we are good at sort of high-end manufacturing, like tech. We're quite good at that. We're quite good at biotech over here as well. There's a lot of stuff in that. Maybe we should play to our strengths. Do you think that?
But it's not though.
This has been Jason Bruce-Moggs' argument for the last 10 years. That's that whole nutcase group who just no regulation, nothing. Let's just go completely free trade. And it's an economic.
Why don't we give it a try for a month?
It's not realistic.
It doesn't work though, does it? Because where we're getting the cheaper steel coming in from China, the reason it's so cheap is because they don't pay hardly anything over there. We could never compete with what they pay. We pay.
Yeah, but you know what, Steve? It'll take a while to even out, but everything will even out then, because after a while.
Well, no, because we'll be on like stupidly low pay then, wouldn't we?
No, but we also then they can't make it as good quality. That was the problem, wasn't it? They were saying that it's not as good as British steel, and so there were accidents and problems happening with buildings because it's made of Chinese steel. It's not British steel, so you go for quality. You don't compete on the quantity; it's the quality. And there are people always prepared. I don't know
that's true anymore.
There are people always prepared. No, I'm always prepared to pay for good quality. It is buy cheap, buy twice, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's always been like that. But anyway, I think training, and I think sometimes I have no idea. It's a complex thing, isn't it? Really, I think what I know you've got to do is you've got to stimulate business and invest in business, and business people will find a way. And then don't let governments get in the way of it. That's the problem. When you get high regulation government, it gets in the way of business. Don't do that, because they are the wealth creators.
It doesn't get in the way of German business. They're doing all right.
But they don't highly regulate.
Well, they're in the EU. They've got lots of regulations.
No, but they basically write the rules. They are the biggest economy in the EU. Without them, they wouldn't be in the EU. They are by far the strongest economy, and essentially every bit of regulation pretty much helps Germany, doesn't it?
I don't know whether it helps Germany.
I don't know about that.
They're able to make the laws in their favour because they're at the table. Like we are now not at that table. We can't be part of that.
We're standing just behind the table shouting. So get that man out, please. No, but you're going to give us free trade. Get him out. Right.
With all of this, though, I mean, we've kind of been served a curveball by COVID as well, because that is going to have an impact as well, isn't it? Mid to long term. So, like before, you might have said, I don't know, tax cuts or something, help stimulate growth or post Brexit, but now with the situation with COVID, I don't know. Tax cuts aren't going to. No, but tax is going to go up, isn't it?
Yeah, but they can't do that though, because essentially, I was thinking a while back. So all government is lending this money, and the money's hemorrhaging. And I thought, where does it go? Where does the money go? And I thought, can't they just invest in business? I thought, what's what they are doing really? Because the government get paid in tax. So the more businesses out there doing well, the more the government get. So that's their investment. So listen, sometimes you have to take a loser. You have to say, okay, I'm investing here for the future. It may not go right straight away, but first and foremost, if you haven't got a strong economy, productive economy, nothing is going to work. We're not going to have any good schools or roads and that, because that's where the money comes from. So anyway, did you see that?
I'd be a little bit more. I'd be a little bit more excited, and I'd be sort of believe the government a little bit more on this if they'd done this like from 2016. Like this was possible after that referendum as well.
Well, in fact, that gigafactory. I don't want to talk about the trend a second, because that gigafactory is the first battery, 2.6 billion, right? It's been invested, but there's people in that industry saying that the government are dragging their feet in this. They first of all said a couple of billion, this 10-point plan, green plan is going to happening, but they need to put a lot more in. If we want to be competing with places like Germany, where you've seen Elon Musk has gone over there from Tesla now, one of the biggest buildings in the world they're building just in Germany. It's a gigafactory for Tesla. So we need to compete, and we really need to throw caution to the wind and go for it, because let's be honest, they have to. That's what I'm thinking. Even from a small level, you've got to realise, the government must realise that now there's no turning back on petrol and diesel. We are going full head on into alternative energy here, and EV, electric, is the front runner, isn't it? Let's be honest. There's hydrogen and all that stuff, but let's be honest, EV, electric vehicles, is the way forward. So they have to put a lot of money into this. They have to really go for it. We must be leaders in this field, because it's going to be massive. Do you know what? And I've got 2 EV plays, right? I'm edging up in them slowly. I've got 3.9%, 3% overall portfolio coverage. I want to get this to 10% plus with the right price. But I think it'll be massive. This is one of those trends, and I read this about trends. What are trends, and you just got to get in front of, and the tide will lift all boats. Looking for an analogy, and I was reading about surfing, and they said there's nothing worse when you're a surfer. If you go onto a beach a bit late, and you're walking off, and a group of surfers are walking off, and one says, "You just missed it. It was firing an hour ago," And the thing with this trend, you've got to get in front. I remember, and there's lots of trends, and that's, in my filter, I'm going to have 3. In that 9-step filter, and have 3 you mustn't avoid. Some I'll say I don't mind if it's over 100 million market cap. There's certain filters in there I can be a bit loose on, but some of them I got to stick to. And trend is one I've got to stick to, because I've lost it before on not sticking with my ideal thoughts on, for example, power synergy. I was in that early on, and I just give up on it, and all of a sudden it's gone nuts. Things like that. Stay in there. And I remember in the late 90s, right, there was a housing boom, and it was nuts. I was trying to buy a house in Cardiff, or flat in Cardiff, during the housing boom. And people were offering over-the-arse prices for flats they hadn't seen. And that is the behaviour of buyers in a booming market. And right now, it'll be like that with EV. Honestly, everything will get bought up. And it's like that a bit with esports at the moment. And I want to get on to sort of Gfinity here, because people saw that video, and you call it a ramping video I did, right, about correction speculation. So first of all, I did a video about their deal with Epic Stream is better than we thought, because it's cheaper. And secondly, Microsoft, of course, Microsoft Xbox, they're in gaming anyway. And big companies like that, they have to find fast-growing areas to keep them, from stagnating, because they're massive. To move their needle, and they can't just buy small companies here and there. They buy loads of them. They've got to really make a difference and make their needle move. And so when they start buying up, and we've seen them, twice in the last 2 weeks, they bought Stream.gg, which is a gaming site and a community. And they bought another company, which is an esports company, and there's a deal with the Middle East Motor Racing Department. And those guys, if you look at that, if you look at all the companies that Gfinity have worked with who put themselves up for sale, I don't think it's an accident they put themselves up for sale, I think there's a reason behind this. John is a very meticulous way, and he works at that. And I saw in that video, it's been planned pretty much, isn't it? Canaccord came on board, who are very into esports. They like gaming, they're very strong in the area. And then they put themselves up for sale a week later, after John has turned the company around a little bit. So
seems to me that you're saying that Gfinity are definitely getting bought by Microsoft.
Well, do you know what? I think I can pretty much say, right, I'd be very, very surprised if they aren't speaking to Microsoft, because Microsoft, have a partner now in common with Gfinity, and that's the Abu Dhabi Motorsports, who are trying to make it's mainstream in the Middle East. They're trying to make it promoted even more. Microsoft is going to help them. And also, they've done a JV. They've created a game, that V10R League, with Gfinity. So they know each other, and they're doing the same kind of thing. So I don't see why. When Gfinity is up for sale and they're having meetings, they're constantly having meetings, like I said in their RNS, there's no reason why. And Microsoft want to get some, land grab in this area, because it's a growing area. So, it's not going to get any smaller, esports. So right now, my kids have just been in there, and I just come in from there watching YouTube. They can't go gaming yet, so they're watching a guy play Fortnite, on YouTube. And I'm thinking, okay, it's not going to get any smaller esports, it's going to get bigger. It's growing already, and you've got to take the positions right now and start getting a bit of land grab. And if you look at where's that thing? If you look at all the relationships that Gfinity have got, they've got a lot of people they can talk to, who would like to get further. And when you see one company like Microsoft making more, grabbing more land, the other companies already with positions in that area will do the same. And I think, if you look at like in Twitch and people like that, they want to get bigger. Look at the ESPN, for example. I've read stories this week. They bought something in esports. There's loads of big companies, EA Sports, who want to get in. There's F1 esports series, Formula One. There's loads of brands who could buy Gfinity and help them become bigger. Because John, I think all they need is he said, we can now. If you look at that phrase, like I said, the phrase that stood out to me was that growing. It is now the opportunity to significantly expand its growth projections. So how do you do that with limited amount of resources? There's a question. How do they say they can significantly expand its growth projections? How do they do that? If you think about it in your mind, how do you do that?
Think about it in your mind.
Yeah, okay. and then give me the answer out loud.
Facebook advertising.
That'd be an excellent strategy if they come out with that. We've now got a solution to how we significantly expanded growth. We're going to advertise on Facebook. That would be the biggest disappointing R&S I've seen in my life. Really, John? Is that your plan? Yes! They do advertising on Facebook! We just discovered that! That'd be hilarious, Steve. Yeah.
I was going to say through acquisition.
Yeah. Well, exactly. They know there's a lot of communities out there, esports communities out there, small things that can bring together into the company, right? But they haven't got the capital, and by capital I mean not just they've got cash, operating cash at the moment. They've got no problem. They got £1 million, and they got £1 million worth of warrants to come in. So that's what they want, a chunk of change to really do some land grabbing. So I see a big company coming in, helping them out with this, and saying, okay, you've got this amount of funds. Corner the market, or do as big a damage as you can in the esports community. Grab as many as you can, because honestly, going forward, this is a rising tide, and we need to be the forefront. So that's what I see happening. I see a big company coming in and just giving them the resources to get on and do what they want to do. John's got a plan, and he wants, he needs basically, a big chunk of change, or a bit, a big daddy with big pockets behind him, saying, "Yeah, go on, do it. It's in your hands. Just do it." And because already, if you look at the relationships they've got, it's with all the big companies. Even in the last 4 weeks, Premier League, Red Bull, Cadbury's, Formula One. They've got all the BT, ESPN. They've been speaking to all these people: Viacom, CBS, Twitch, Prime, Amazon. They've done deals with all these people.
Steve's comment isn't. I mean, all right, Facebook's funny, but driving users ultimately, however, building brand awareness across all those platforms that they have, and inevitably advertising will be involved in that. Is an element of building the business.
Okay. Sorry, I found that funny. I thought, Steve, were you joking?
No. Well, I think I don't know about Facebook advertising, that's specific like that, but it's got to surely play a part in their overall growth, because it's all about users, isn't it, ultimately?
Yeah. But yes, if you look at that kind of deal they did, right, with Electric Stream's perfect. If you look at Games, for example, Games Workshop is a nerdy.
Absolutely.
Games Workshop is one of the best performing stocks of all time, right, on the London Stock Exchange. If you look at let me get the chart, and it's about what is it, Warhammer and all that stuff. I don't know what it's about, but essentially it's a very nerdy niche field who are very engaged and never will always be there. No matter how old they grow, they're always into that thing. Look at that World of Warhammer. Literally, it was £4 back in 2016, and now they're £102 a share.
So here's a question: do your boys know about Gfinity?
No, they wouldn't know the brand of Gfinity, would they? But they know, for example, I said, I put it in the video, the biggest streamed game of late, or biggest streamed game, esports game, is League of Legends. And Gfinity have just done a deal, like with Red Bull, to broadcast a simplified version of that to get more people into it. So they've got contacts with the League of Legends. So all the big gaming houses, pretty much, Codemasters, all these people, they've been advertising with all these people now. They've got advertising deals with all the games makers, all the brands, all the publishers. They've got good relationships with all of them. And so again, who will be the person who comes on board and helps them? I don't know, but they've got so many conversations they can have, because they've done sport events, and not just one time off. They've done repeat, things with F1, with Premier Leagues, all these big brands or sports rights holders, broadcasters, global publishers. They've got good deals with all of them. So, and like I said,
when I was saying advertising, I wasn't advertising the Gfinity brand. I was talking about
they wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't know Gfinity.
So I think Steve might have been talking about Facebook advertising for Gfinity.
Oh, right. Yeah. Maybe put Steve in charge of marketing. That would be John.
I'm pretty good at marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Who's saying that? Is that just you, or you've got anyone else backing up?
Yeah, just me.
You could do like a Friday night live stream.
Yeah.
So all Gfinity fans.
Yeah, Steve's Gfinity Disco. Yeah. No, it's not their brand they need to advertise for.
That's what I meant in terms of. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the things on my filter I never want to avoid is trends. So companies and big trends, commercial trends, not just hype trends. Like I said, we've seen before where, for example, Melody VR, EVRH. I got into that, and the hype of that lifted it from when you got a subject 10 million market cap, it can go berserk anyway. And like I said, that 10 bagged on hype alone. But then you realise, hang on a sec, is there commercial value in that kind of audience? And now they're pivoting a bit now, aren't they? They're buying Napster. I think they bought Napster on there recently and all that. So they're trying to pivot the business because the original idea of the business isn't working. But it's got to be very commercial. Obviously. Yeah, it's got to be very commercial already.
What did they do originally?
Well, VR, wasn't it? VR. Avatar, VR music, watching concerts in your house with a VR headset on. And then, certainly the appeal of customers is going to concerts as part of the event, isn't it? Meeting up with your friends, and then a few drinks maybe,
Talking about trends, and obviously talking about EV stuff earlier with the trend. It's like EV, that trend. That's nothing new. That's been the talk of that's been around, and we've seen spikes in companies involved in that area already, and they sort of come off the boil a little bit, whatever. So it's not a new trend, but what you're saying, picking the kind of start of the new trend now.
No, but there's been regulatory
of the next trend, the next phase of the trend.
But now there's regulatory pressure, right? We have a line in the sand, 2030, no more petrol diesel, and yet we're lagging. The amount of investment that go into that will be huge, because I believe in human innovation, never bet against it. Like I said, 10 years normally is for a vaccine. We did it in 10 months. I said we, not us guys on the podcast.
No, we did.
No, not Dave from Twitter, who questions the dodginess, safetiness of it. But, but that's human innovation. And people say, my father, for example, my father's a car sales, and he'll say, the thing is, and he's got a very valid point. He said, you take William Street, like in Blackwood, right? There's a street in William Street because it's a terrace road. It's about 150, houses in a row. I suppose many streets in London, And he said, how do all those cars get charged? There, he said, 150, cars backed up. You can't find a car parking space there, let alone put a charger in. Where are all the chargers going to go? I thought it was a good point. How do you charge, 100 cars overnight when you haven't got enough points there?
The lampposts, isn't it? Or something?
And I said, Dad, you know what? I believe it'll come to the point where you can just put into a garage or a workplace, and you'll be charged within 5 minutes. Yeah. And that's how innovation. The amount of do you know why we got to the vaccine so quickly? Largely, it was funding. And there was the point that there was lots of people with the disease as well, the virus. So you could have lots of people in the clinical trials as well. So, but it's the money element as well. It costs a lot of money. When you throw a lot of money at something, they find solutions to it, and it will come somehow. So people are worrying about they've got the range anxiety, haven't they? First of all, how far can I drive, and how long does it take me to charge? Can I get a charging point? Those will be sorted out. The amount of money going into this, because I think there's 14 big countries all around the world already by 2030 of banning petrol diesel cars. That's a huge. There's not going to be a trend like this, in our lives. You can't buy one of those after 2030. We're already in 2021, pretty much. In 9 years' time, you can't buy a petrol diesel car.
Yeah. So no, I agree. Obviously, that we've got a line in the sand now that we've got to aim for. So that you're seeing that then the trend's going to ramp up now. Then, as we said last week, though, it is about picking, because there's a myriad of companies involved in lots of different ways, whether it's the batteries or the electrics or whatever, or the manufacture of vehicles or whatever. There's a lot of different opportunities, isn't it? So it's like,
there's lots of different ways of playing. You can play it upstream, downstream. Upstream by means, again, going to the guys that actually dig the stuff out of the ground, like lithium or nickel or cobalt. In fact, cobalt's probably another good one, because a lot of that is in the Dominican Congo, Republic of Congo, and that's and the kid.
Democratic.
Yeah, that's it. It's funny. Any country they call themselves the Democratic Republic, it's not democratic. Okay, for them to have state that, it's the opposite of what it is. So they got kids working in mines down there. So I mean, even Elon Musk said they're going to try and get those out of their batteries. So lithium, yes, nickel, and rare earth minerals. You can go upstream like that for miners. I'm not going to go for resource companies anymore, because even though they will have huge movements, pop and drops they'll be, because like I said, oh look, we've got £2 billion worth of lithium in the ground. Yes, in fact, we've done 6 drill holes to find out that, but it's going to take us 10 years to get it out if we get funding. And in the meantime, we'll have to do 20 fundraisers. So, you'll be deleted to hell.
Was that your Rod Gilbert impression?
Oh, yeah. He's in charge of the lithium company now.
Right.
But, you either go for that where they'll come up with new-driven stocks where it'll go nuts, for a week, and then it'll come back down. But that's the way traders, ideal for traders, those kind of stocks. They're kind of. But if you want, sustained, rise in the share price, you want value generation, not price.
Yeah. Traders. One exception to the resource thing is Asia Met, obviously. After
doing very well.
I mean, that's doing very well.
Copper there. But again.
They've confirmed the deal. It's all going to be signed, sealed, and delivered before Christmas now. So that's fantastic.
Oh, did they say that? Did they?
Yeah, we saw a nice rise yesterday of 15%.
Yeah, I saw that. But listen, there's a case in point, though. There's a case in point. How long have we been doing this podcast? When did we first buy Asia Met?
5 years ago.
Exactly. So if you've got the patience for 5 years, pop and drops, it's enjoyable along the way.
It's not really pop and drop, is it?
No, how many pop and drops has it had? I mean, look at the chart here. There's quite a few, isn't it?
Started at we got around about 1p, got out to 14p, got back down to about 1p. It's now 6p or just. So
listen, the difference is between price appreciation and value appreciation. Now, if you're a trader, it's all about price. If you're an investor, it's all about the value. What is value generation? It's basically creating cash and the growth. If you got, for example, I'm looking at 2 companies. I'm going more downstream to tech companies have IP that I think will be used massively, and they've got orders, and their growth projections are looking very good. And that means when you're going from a revenue growth, double digits, I'm talking sort of above 20% year-on-year revenue growth. In fact, the one I'm looking at the moment, I talked about a lot recently, they're looking at growth of over 100% in the next 2 years on their revenue, and that's up to but there's a seller in there. But I've missed the initial rise. That's the problem. I got to say, Cleo, I don't want to talk about it because people, often say, "Oh, just pump and dump." No, listen. When I highlight the stock, I will never highlight the stock that's risen, spiked. This price has spiked up. It's going up. It looks like it's going. I'll try and get to the point where the share price has settled a bit, and I think there's more upside. I missed the original rise in this, that pop. Now a couple of sellers have come in, it's and I think it'll settle a little bit lower. So I put a third so far of my stake into it. Why have I done that? Because you can never guarantee it's going to go lower. So I want a bit of skin in the game, but I think it will come lower, and I'll put the other 2/3 then as it comes a bit lower.
But that's kind of what I'm saying about where it's not a new trend. So some of these companies already have seen rises. Perhaps they will cool down, but like you say, there is that line in the sand now, and things are moving towards it. So.
It's funny. Sometimes you think that, like I said, you see rises when they shouldn't be rises, and you see drops when they shouldn't be drops. For example, we now know that everything's going to be geared. A lot of money is going to be going into electric vehicles, sort of tech, and but and yet you think, okay, well, there's no coming back now. But sometimes share price will drop for no reason. Like I said, there's been institutional investors in this very early on. And they've done very well, and now they're selling out to get, obviously, maybe they sell half, maybe they sell all of it, I don't know. But, these institutional investors have a lot of stocks. They've got to take money off the table. That's how they exist.
Are the companies you're looking at related to the charging? Because I think that's your dad's point is valid.
No. So it's also
speedy charging is going to be. So if you've got the tech that will enable speedy charging, I think that's quite an interesting area.
Yeah, so they're both around the batteries, right? I don't want to say anything else. But one is directly involved. One, it would helps makes batteries lighter, faster, and all that
right.
stuff. So
okay.
Yeah.
Battery tech.
Yeah, but they've both got, in fact, one's got a big order, so they've always got revenue. They're commercial already. So, it's not just proof, it's not the concept. The proof of concept is proof of commerciality as well. So there's always two proofs here. Proof of concept, does it work? Is it commercial? Yes, it is. And now they've got a big contract come in. And that tech they've got, globally unique, this tech they've got.
I was going to say USB, yeah, it has to be kind of unique. Yeah.
And why is that important? Because other people can't do it. That means they can charge a premium. They've got a moat, as Warren Buffett says. It's less competitors. There we are. So that's yes. I think that, as far as trends, I think So if you look at a portfolio, for example, now I've got EV exposure. I'm getting it. I've also got what is it? Med tech is very big. We now know. In this day and age, medicine and technology in medicine is very good. Like Plarion, for example. There's a lot of people worrying that's come back a bit. Paddy, you got a lot of that stock, haven't you? Paddy's dead.
Paddy,
I'm here. Sorry. Yeah, I've got. It was like that 39% of my portfolio. It's down this week. That's it. You've got to hold in for volatility. Like I said, if there's a delay or they don't get priority review there on their new drug application, then it's going to come off. It's going to be a bit of volatility. But nevertheless, we know this is going to be commercial and it's going to do very well. There's nothing else out there. So whether it's commercialised in 8 months or 12 months, I mean that's the difference. That's all the difference is, isn't it? So it may come off. But do you know what? They say 60 days, so we should have had an answer there. But someone's saying 74 now, and I think, like I said, the FDA are very busy. If you look at the FDA, I looked at the FDA. You can go there yourself. The Food and Drug Administration submission page, and if you look at all the people submitting for emergency review, it's amazing how many COVID testing companies are submitting for their devices and their contraptions to be given priority review. So I think they're snowed in. I think we may not even have a answer, well, hopefully this month, but I don't, I wouldn't, that 60 days is gone, and that's why I don't think they haven't got it. I just think it's very busy there. This is one of the reasons why the UK was able to get it first, wasn't it? Because our drug administration isn't doing very much at the moment.
No, it's because, Dr. Fauci came out, American guy, didn't he? And give a sly dig at the British Regulatory Board, saying that they've approved it too fast. And then he came back and someone said, well, no. He said, no, I didn't mean that. I meant the FDA have more checks and balances, and the way they do things is a bit more long-winded. And in fact now, the head of the FDA is coming under pressure to resign unless they pass the Pfizer thing, because it's been passed now in 4 countries in the world. FDA haven't done it. And they say, why you take so long? I think they've just done it now, haven't they? Yes, they have, yeah. But he was under pressure to resign, wasn't he?
But no, apparently because the UK's drug administration used to do a bit of stuff for the EU, but before January we're not actually doing anything for the EU and we're not doing anything for ourselves. Like they're all sitting there twiddling their thumbs doing nothing. So that's why they were able to get it done so quick, because they just threw everyone at it.
I got to laugh. They didn't say that, did they? Why didn't they just say that? We had nothing to do, really. Yeah. We're just sitting here at the desks, and then the phone rang. So said, "Can you have a look at this drug?" And said, "Oh, right, listen, we got some work on, guys." I said, right. Yeah, so that's quite
back
good.
from the pub, unexposed. Yeah.
So I think if you look at trends, for example, so one of the filters is trends, right? The other one is price. The 3 things I will never avoid on my filter, because I've done it with, like I said, Salt Lake Potash, for example. That got in. I don't know why I actually bought that, because that wouldn't have fit in my trend. It's amazing. You can write rules, right, and then you can ignore them and make excuses saying, no, it's fine, it works. But
I think we pointed this out. I mean, if we could scan back to the archive of the podcast, I think we did point this out at the time. Yeah.
So it's a resource company that needed funding, and now what I've got in there, so to avoid this in future, I've got in big bold in one of my filters, liquidity basically. Does the company have enough money to get a cash generation? That's it. And I've added avoid debt. Big bold letters. Because you don't need it. There's plenty of opportunities out there without debt. Debt really complicates it. And like you've seen, trying to get this over the line with Salt Lake, it's been a problem. And sentiment has been lost, and then if it dilutes a bit more. But
debt financing is always going to be the way
For resource companies, yes.
For a lot, resource companies, it's going to be.
They're done with the fundraising now, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even then, I read the RNS, and it confused me still. I thought, well, and I always go back to like what Warren Buffett says. There's I don't know if he actually said it. People attribute now clever quotes to Warren Buffett. I don't know if he's obviously a very good investor. Is he good at quote speech, quote making, quote writing, and all that? But he did say once, he said, investing is not like Olympic diving. You don't get points for difficulty. So keep it simple. And if you don't understand something, and I literally had to read that Salt Lake Potash thing over and over again, thinking, and that 13 million, is that an extra 13 million equity fundraise, or is that in with this? And so, when I asked Tony that, he said, no, it's done. So there we are. So hopefully there's no more fundraising needed. And so the market cap now is 168 million, right? So that's the market cap. So when we were basing this before, 150 million market cap, and say 60 million of EBITDA, you put that on a valuation of 5, which is, and you expect a valuation of 300 million. So that's a doubler on one lake. And then you've got 3 lakes. They're doing 4 times apparently, 4 times the volume on 3 lakes. That would produce a bit of 10 bagger pretty much, because they're doing 240 million of EBITDA, which 2 times that by 4 is over $1 billion. So so it's still intact, but it's left a salty taste in my mouth. That's what I've got to say. And I'm thinking, between this and a tech company, exposed to EV, I prefer to have a tech company exposed to EV. So I think I'll be reallocating capital, but I still think I think Salt Lake Potash is going to make good money now. Hopefully, there's no more fundraising.
Well, there's an argument to say now. Finally, the project is de-risked to an extent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, like as long as production goes to plan now, and in the very near future, then you're hopefully. You'll start to see a business actually generating revenue, and other things will fall into place. And whilst it might not, be the 4, 5, 10 bag or whatever that was,
it's definitely it's good return.
It's going to improve from here, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the people in the fundraise will be selling. I think a lot of institutions maybe.
No, exactly.
But look at our guesses on that. When we hit 40 pence, God, that's taking a step back, isn't it?
Oh yeah, what were the guesses?
Paddy was going with October. I think you go October next year now, Paddy. Okay, I put that in for 2021. Me, December. It's going to have a good rise from here. Pete, January. Steve, March.
Steve is going to be winning this.
Steve is looking on the money there, because that's when production. So production is still going to happen in March. So here we are. Escape Hunt hasn't really done much this week, but so when's it going to hit 20 pence? That's
Escape Hunt. Every day I've seen it go down. But then every day I look at my portfolio, the value of it. It doesn't seem to do anything. So
but that's often you get to the bid and ask change. So the ask will come down, so or go up. That'll move around, but it won't actually move a lot. I know. Then it's been quite resilient. There's been a seller in there. Constant sort of drip feed of a seller. But on Friday went up by 1.3%, and there's decent. The volume now is picking up there nicely. I think Watford will run soon. The guy said to me recently, so I've sold Escape Hunt because they had a nice rise. Let's be honest, who's going to escape rooms? I said, well, there's a lot of demand there when they're open, and also I said, what are you looking at? What are you confusing? And he quoted something from the last report. I said, yes, always look at the last interims and last full year reports. It's always good to get it because it tells you about the operations, what's happening, the money they've got. But always remember, that's historical. That's like 3 to 6 months old when the stock market looks ahead by 3, 6 months, 12 months ahead even. So when you're investing in Escape, you realise in 12 months' time, when vaccines are all here, they will have about 20 sites in operation. All firing off all 4 cylinders, 6 and 8, whatever cylinders they have, cars have. And then you've got the remote gaming, which apparently is going gangbusters at the moment. People are doing it, and they're playing them at home, and they're doing it. So you mustn't be valuing the company on 6 months ago. You must be looking in 6 months' time, because that's where it's going to be, and you're investing for the future, not the past. So so don't get confused about looking at interim reports from or a final year report from a couple of months back and realising, well, that's where they are. No, they're not there. That was where they were 12 months ago. So
Have you introduced Escape Hunt to Gfinity? Because they could do a partnership where esports, you have to play esports to escape a room challenge.
That's good. Good idea. I did think of it, Joe. I did think there was
we combine 2 of our stocks and they'd both go gangbusters then.
Yeah. Well, I did think. I did think, right. In fact, the 2 EV plays I've got, they could work with each other. I thought that recently. I thought, wow, I maybe introduced one company to another company. But it's
funny enough, just because you'd be watching Schitt's Creek on Netflix.
Yes, I'm getting into it now. I'm getting into it.
I'm on the final season, and I'm not sure what episode I'm on, but they for one of their birthdays, they all go into an escape room.
There you go.
No, it's not. It's something else, but I will reveal that. They go for a night out, and it's an escape room.
Yeah,
But it's like a really rubbish one in like the middle of nowhere. Pretty much what.
Yeah. Well, do you know what?
Isn't.
I know. Do you know what? Yeah. Well, look at that. I set up Google Alerts, right? And I got something like Doctor Who come up with, and Escape Hunt was involved. And there's a Doctor Who fan site, and there's like the activity on this Doctor Who fan site you wouldn't believe, right? And I'm thinking, okay, if you're a 2-bit, one-person operated escape room down the road there somewhere, you can't get involved with, Doctor Who. It's a brand, it's a franchise, and yet they were mentioning
Doctor Y.
Yeah. But that's what they've got alignment with brands, Alice in Wonderland, all these people, and you can't do that if you're a one-person operator. So they've got quality of product and premium brand. I genuinely think, if you look at the art they put out there on the social media and the games, in fact, the little quizzes they do on social media, something to do that, try and solve this. It's really good, I mean, the guys, they've got a really a good, background. Their track records are very good from bigger companies. And I see this as a premium brand. I mean, I see it as such a cheap company. I think, honestly, in a year's time, you think, wow, that was amazing. Imagine we got it at 7-8 pence there. Anyway, guesses on when it'll hit for 20 pence. Paddy March, me January, Pete April, Steve February, Pollux £1. Paddy December. Oh, Paddy, we're in December. Me January. February for Pete, March for Pad. Okay, let's go GFIN, okay? GFIN. Oh, we've done that. No, it's 7 pence. March 2022 for Paddy. Very odd. Me, January, March. Okay, what else are we going with? Anything else?
Hold on, you were January for Gfinity to hit 7p.
Yeah, where are we then? They'll do that. They'll do. I just genuinely think this formal sales process, right? It's an limited time only. There's two things going to happen. Either they're going to come up with a deal or they're not. And I think that's going to happen before Christmas. It's like it's a really poor analogy, but it's like putting your house on sale forever, but asking too much for something. In the end, people say, how long has your house been on sale for? And they say, 3 years? Oh, okay. Thanks so much. And, you walk away slowly, edge backwards, because it's literally, and I just think, because it's so hot, the esports, they'll get an offer or something. Something's going to happen before Christmas. It's going to happen before Christmas. And that's why I think it'll be... What was
mine and Steve's guesses for the Gfinity 7p? I can't remember.
GFin, March for Paddy, January me... Paddy, March 2023. You were March next year.
2021, yeah. Okay, cool.
And Steve...
I for May or something, didn't I?
Steve was June.
Oh, June, yeah.
Why June? Why summer, Steve?
Why not?
Well, I just thought I'd go out there. To be fair, I think I'm going to win all the other bets, but from going far long, so...
Far long, okay.
Far long, I'm not sure what that means.
Far long?
Yeah, far long. Let's do, okay, right. On the mark, one more. On the market, when will it hit 150? Bad. We're at 122.
Next Thursday.
So
that's quite specific.
I'll just say December. Right. Me, I'm going to say, I don't know whether the results are out next. I'm going to say, no, January, because that's when their figures are out, and that's one of the biggest, busiest months. No, I'm going to say February, because it's going to go, because January, do you know that after Christmas, couples tend to say, or families, we'll have one more Christmas together, then we'll separate. And the housing market's very busy over Christmas, after Christmas. So they get...
Do people actually have that conversation?
Yeah, with kids. It's because kids, not if you're just a couple. Generally, they say, I don't want to spend another Christmas with you. But if you've got kids, we'll do it to the kids. So one more Christmas together, just have one decent Christmas together. You never know. We'll try.
Tell the kids that. Just let you know, kids, this is the last one.
yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, yay, double presents next Christmas.
And then, so the housing market, and new start, new year, people want a new house as well. So it's very buoyant in January, February. So I think they'll come up with figures in Feb saying record amount of traffic, and I think they'll get 150 then.
Wait, sorry, was this just your way of saying you've just had that conversation?
Where? No. With my wife. With my wife, right. No. Pete, what do you mean?
Right. All right, well, I'll have to go March then if you've got February.
It may even go for... before that though, in anticipation. Remember, You know, that's what happens. Steve.
Going long again. I'm going to go May.
May.
You didn't take the January option, no.
No, you could preempt that.
Grabs.
Okay.
No.
Paddy's
got the best one there next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday. Okay. Should we cover that poll I did on Twitter?
Yes.
What was it? The biggest loser? Wow. So I had less than a day poll. 624 votes. What is the biggest loser you currently hold in your portfolio, and how much you down in it? Feel free to name it. So the biggest response there section was more than 75% down. 27.9% of people have that. They're holding something that's more than 75% down. Are you boys in that category?
Yeah, I got a nil.
More than 70, no.
Or not applicable in one of mine.
More than 75. You down on that, and you C4XD, you both down more than 75%.
I'm 30. No, 30%. I'm 30%.
Oh, you've averaged down, didn't you? Yeah. You were originally.
Massively.
Yeah, but now I'm 30% down.
I do find that funny, actually. Their main title, C4XD, is we are aimed to be the most productive drugs discovery engine in the world, and yet we've done one deal in 3 years. And now
that's still the aim.
And now Clive, in charge of the vaccine task force,
that's good news.
He's like, they put an RNS and see for the most. You mentioned being the least productive drug discovery engine. How often will you get one a deal going then? And then Clive is now in charge of the vaccine task force. We didn't know this virus existed at the start of the year, pretty much. I mean, in 10 months, we come with a vaccine to kill it, and yet Clive's in charge of that speed of that kind of vaccine task force. Yet, just come on, C4XD, what's going on there? They're very slow, aren't they?
They're aiming to be the leading drug discovery company. So I think
when does that kick in? I could say I'm aiming to be
$15 million.
I'm aiming to be Prime Minister.
Yeah, exactly. I'm aiming to be the fastest sprinter in the world. I'm starting off very slow. I do my 100 metres so far in 20 seconds, but I'm aiming to get there. It's like, what are you talking about?
Let's see how it pans out, shall we?
Yeah, no, listen, what I do like about thing, I like the thought that the ambition there, the model they have, and they've got a lot of IP, there's a lot of risk involved.
Exactly, the technology.
But the one drug the deal done deal with, is not even, it's just gone in phase 1. We're talking about vaccines gone through phase 1, 2, 3, and they're in people being distributed. So why is it taking so long?
Slightly different.
Do you know why it takes so long? Because of funding and all that stuff, see?
Yeah. But we'll hang in there. Well, I'm going to hang in there. And let's see what happens.
I know this circles back to trends, though. Funding. When you've got a lot of funding happening, things happen. There's going to be a lot of funding, a huge amount of funding going to electric vehicles, alternative energy. That's why you need to get in that trend, guys. That's why I'm pivoting out of a resource into a trend.
Yeah, good. Let's go back to your poll. So what was it? How many people were 27% were 75% were over?
Yeah. So 75% down. Yeah, so 27%. So yeah, I don't know. I think you've got to cut your losses like that. I think even if you boys are a bit worried about a lot, like Steve said, I don't like having losses. I'll cut a loss. I don't care. I'll take a loss. I'll take get out. If it's going the wrong way, don't like it. If you change your mind in it, get out. I mean, to a certain extent, you got to say, you got to have a rule. That's why I put rules in saying, don't change your mind on impatience. There's got to be a reason for it, a reallocation of capital.
I've got better at that. I've taken some losses in order to then turn around the portfolio. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not about having winners, it's about cutting your losers as well. If you got, it's like, here's a good analogy, boys, right? It's like having an anchor bigger than your boat. You may have a speedboat, but if the anchor's too big, it's going to be dragging you down, You've got to get the right size anchor for your boat. Yeah? For your little speedboat. So you're on a fast boat, small anchor. Yeah?
Right. Looking at these results they're not giving to us, virtually the same amount of same proportion of people are less than 25% down. So 27% on that, 28% of more than 75%.
The biggest loser, yeah. And I guarantee that those people there, you're lucky you're doing a lot better than the guys who are holding up the stocks who are 75% down. Don't hold losers. There's no point. Losers will always be losers, pretty much. You get a bounce and turn around, but if you're 75% down, listen, if you're 50% down, that stock has to increase by 100% to get your money back. So that's the kind of improvement it needs to do. So again, you need to move over 100% or 75%. That's a lot of gain you have to make to get money back. It isn't worth it. Just cut it. There's going to be a level where I think 30%, something like that. If you get over 35% down or something like that, cut it. Get it and reevaluate and regroup. You've mistimed it. Sometimes it can be a matter of timing. It can be timing, or things go wrong. But and then don't get emotional. Don't chuck more money into it if it's going the wrong way. If the stories are not.
There's some it's worth reading that thread on that poll, because there's a lot of comments and a lot of people's kind of stories of, where they've been up and then ultimately down. They didn't take profit and they're down, and
all of them,
that.
yes.
I feel their pain.
Yes. I reckon I can tick all those options. Says Big Gib there. It means he holds his stocks in every one of the categories.
Yeah.
Yes, let's have a look here. Metro Bank. I was new to investing and just looked at the charts and saw how high the SP had been. Exactly. Don't have a look at that. If you look at again, trends. Are on-street banking trends? Is that going to happen, do you think? If the world is moving to more online, older generations like to go in and have a chat. Can I put this little check in, please, for £5.20? That doesn't happen anymore. People don't do that. They do it all online. It's not a trend, is it? It's not online. Don't have any, to be honest. Liar. No, it's quite good. No, in fact, I got one. I think. Have I got one? I don't think I have one done. I cut before I get that.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your biggest loss?
I don't think I have one. I don't have one below 25%. I generally either average down or cut it if it's going the wrong direction. So I just cut. 74% with XCG zeros. I find time and convictions important. I've been down probably 30% on my best winners, which have then gone on to 6 bag for my purchase price. Maybe my purchase timing was wrong, but it's tricky with small caps. One placing and you're down. True. Yeah, it's the small caps and resource stocks. Like I said, they're very volatile. But I think maybe 30% is the magic thing. If it's down then, start rethinking it. Reallocate capital maybe somewhere else. Or maybe you mistimed it. Stand back. When you're involved, when the money's in there, you are emotionally involved. You don't think straight. It's best to get a bit of distance on it and think, I'll get some money out and rethink. And you may find something else that's a better investment, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but there's lots of companies there. Check out that thread if you wanna. I had a bad week this week. Did you last thing? I had a bad week really. I've down 6.8% of my portfolio. It wasn't a good week for me, and but that happens, and that was largely I think down to Polarian and Salt Lake Potash. What else came off? Something else came off, didn't it? Of course.
Well, Salt Lake Potash actually recovered once we got the confirmation that the funding was in place.
Yeah.
Had a good Friday, didn't it? But,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Steve, you're in lockdown on the Welsh again? What's happening with Welsh? What is going on there, Steve?
What do you mean? We're not in lockdown again.
You are, aren't you?
No.
You're going to be.
Well, from the 28th.
Paddy showed me that chart. I had to actually go on the chart and look at it. You are the only area of the country with that dark purple colour, which is over 400. There's one place in east of London somewhere, Medway or whatever. But apart from that, it's like Rhondda, Taff, Caerphilly, Cardiff, Newport. You're all in that dark purpley colour where germs are spreading. Like, what are you doing down there, Steve? What are you Welsh people doing?
It's not me, is it?
It is you. Well, for your kin, I'm Welsh as well, of course, but I'm in the clean part of Hampshire. So what are you actually doing? Because that Dreyford guy got up there. He's an idiot. He is a full-blown idiot. Actually, ain't he? He is, isn't he? He is thick as dog do. It has been terrible, very terrible. What?
I just think of him as Harold Bishop.
He looks a bit like Paul Merton as well. He got no neck. I was looking at him, but he was. I don't know what you're doing down there, Steve. But he was just saying, like, thing is, right? He said, right, we're having lockdown now. Everyone gets depressed and start drinking it. Right, lift the lockdown. Everyone goes partying. Infections spread. Right, infections are high. Lockdown. You can't keep doing that. At the end of the day, it's ridiculous. Hospital, people are in hospital everywhere. Lockdown. Lift it. Lockdown! Lift it!
Looks like we're going into lockdown on the 28th of December.
Lockdown! There we are. Brilliant. Yeah. 28th of December.
They just closed all our winter wonderlands down now.
Yeah, he did say that. We're not having winter wonderland. There's not be all wandering around Wonderland.
Good idea anyway,
yeah, that's a good place for it. We're not be wandering around winter wonderland with coronavirus about, okay? He said anything. He said someone said, how do you determine what you lock down and what you don't, what you shut down? He said, well, anywhere you enjoy yourself, we're locking down. There we are, the dreamy old sod. No smiling, please, over Christmas. Right? That's the problem, see? Too many people enjoying themselves. We want misery. That will kill the virus. Misery will kill it. Right. On that bombshell, thank you very much, guys.
This would be a good Gavin and Stacey episode, actually. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them navigating the rules.
It's been clinically,
Yeah,
exactly. Can we have you in our house? Like we have you if you have him. Yeah, so you can be in the garden, and you can be in the other room.
Yeah. Right, so
are you in there, Bryn? Yeah, I'm in the kitchen. I can't come in the study because there's 3 people in there.
Email Ruth, Justin. We'll get it knocked out in a week.
Yeah. It's been clinically proven that the coronavirus is killed by misery, right? So lock yourself down, switch the lights off, drink rum in the corner with Steve. Right. Lovely. Have a nice weekend, boys.
Marvellous. Right, bye.
The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.